Welcome to episode 128. I'm your host, Gustavo Dantas, and today I have a great friend of mine that we trained back in Brazil in the 90s. Andre Motta is one of the most experienced competitors out of Andre Pederneiras school. He was Brazilian national champion, Pan champion, placed twice and silver medalist of the World Championship Masters, and have a lot of experience being teaching at Vitor Shaolin's in New Jersey and live in Abu Dhabi. So got a lot of experience to share. So Andrezinho, what's up?
What's up, Gustavo? I'm really happy here to talk with you, to share my experience. Couple 28 years of jiu-jitsu, I guess. I'm not sure. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah, man. And I remember even Dede saying that you were one of the guys, one of the busiest competitors of, Andre Pederneiras school. The guys that was like competing every weekend, and not only that, but actually doing really well coming up in all the belts. And so we're gonna talk about that. But how jiu-jitsu show up in your life?
Yeah, it's funny because I have no idea what it is jiu-jitsu. No idea. So I started, I guess, with 13 in 1992. And remember in Brazil back of the days, those yellow newspapers from the neighborhood with local business. So because I was a big fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, those movies, I was looking forward to do full contact, not Muay Thai. That time is full contact, the name. And I found a gym close to my house in Botafogo in Brazil. And so I show up there. So nobody in the gym. I think just a lady working on the first floor. And I heard some noises upstairs because jiu-jitsu was upstairs. And the lady came to me and said, "Look, the professor from Full Contact, he's not here, but we have in jiu-jitsu upstairs if you want to see how it is." And I'll say, "Okay, let's see." And then I came upstairs and I saw Alan Góes. Now he's living in California, and he was teaching a private class actually. And Alan Góes is a very smart guy, started talking about me, about jiu-jitsu, whatever. And so I did a trial the next day and I love it. So I remember I have a lot of people my age, and that's it. I think the most thing I like it is the environment of the gym. I think for me is a really important thing. And then that's it. I start doing, and remember, I know you're going to talk about competitors soon, but I remember starting in August, and September 13 was my first tournament. I remember the date because it was my sister's birthday. And Alan, he organized a small tournament between the gyms around the neighborhood with Manny Mal, Isaías, with Toco from Nova Geração. And so I remember 2 fights. I remember that. And it was funny. And I love it. And I never stopped.
All right. So you competed a month after you start training. Do you have memories of that? How was the experience?
Yes. Yeah. I remember the tournament was inside the gym on the first floor, where it used to be the full contact class and the gymnastic class. I remember it's an old house in Botafogo. It's an old neighborhood, so I have a lot of that old house with big windows. I remember a lot of people climbing the windows to see the fights, like old school. And my first fight was against, nowadays he's a big friend, against Neca. Neca is Jucão's brother. Jucão from Manimal, from UFC. Now he lives in Atlanta. And I did, I guess, a triangle on him. I remember I pulled guard and submit him doing a triangle. And my second fight, I remember, was against a guy from Nova Geração, from Toco. I remember really, really well somebody behind me from his gym saying, I forgot his name. So the guy's coaching him, helping him, was not Toco, but was a friend. He said his name and said, "Look, you have 3 stripes. He doesn't have any stripe." Yeah, I remember this marked me a little bit. I started looking to his belt. So that's true. I'm in trouble. But I remember I pulled guard and did the triangle again. I believe that's the only thing I know how to do. So I'm going to do what I know. And I did, and I won. Was nice. And I believe that good experience as the first time helped me to go further. I guess I don't know how it's gonna be if I lose the fight. I don't know.
How long after did you start training with Andre Pederneiras?
It's funny. I was talking with Ximenes. Ximenes is a good friend of mine. We start together. We talk about dates. I thought I started in 1993, and one other day talk with him and Alan guys. Alan, no, you start in 1992 because I went to America in 1993. So when I moved to America, you already with me like for 1 year. So I moved to Pederneiras in 1993. I remember I was green belt, and before I start on Pederneiras, I asked him. I said, Andre, I'm gonna turn 16 in July. So I come here as a green belt, a blue belt, and he said, no, come here as a blue belt. And I show up in the gym with my blue belt. Nobody gave to me because it was the transition when Alan moved. And after he moved, I remember Alan saying, look, you guys can choose, go to Manimal, go into Bolão, or go into Pederneiras. And I think 95% of my teammates moved to Manimal. And me and 2 or 3 more guys moved to Pederneiras.
It was just closer to you? It's just because it was closer to your house?
No, Manimal was closer. But
so what attracted you to go there?
Yeah, I attract me because I fought with Shaolin when we was white belt. And I remember he was my first time I lose, and he beat me doing a Kimura. So I stay a little bit impressed with his technique, and Pederneiras, like we know, we have like a lot of good fighters, competitors. So that's the reason I decided to move to Pederneiras. That was the reason, and I'm really happy with my choice.
For sure, it's interesting because Shaolin was there's 2 people that really influenced my decision to go to Pederneiras school. Shaolin was one of them, and Charuto was the other one, because I had like a friend in common, Leo Maia. Yeah, him. So I already saw him competing back then. I think he was brown. Saw him compete in earlier belts, but when he was a brown belt, Leo had some private classes with him, so kind of got closer to him and made a connection. And Shaolin and I were in the same division too. Like usually, like in a blue belt, I was a light, he was a feather. Yes. And then at one moment as a purple belt, we both feathered at the same time, and then he got promoted right away, and then I stayed in purple. But he was definitely a big inspiration why I started going to Pederneiras.
Yes, and not only that, I remember, like you mentioned, like Charuto, have Gilson, Flávio, everybody was always really nice with me when we hang out together, when we meet each other in nightclubs, whatever, in Brazil. And I felt like very welcome. And Andre Pederneiras is an amazing guy, so makes everything easy.
So when was your first experience coming to the US? Because I know that you spent some time here, like in the 90s. So let's talk a little bit about it. Yeah, before me. So let's talk about that.
Yes, I remember when I was purple belt, and Alan, he was here in Costa Mesa in California teaching, and I don't know how to start everything, because that time we don't have
and by internet. The way, let me just cut you for a second. Just to give some context, people don't know about Alan Goys. He's one is like a legend. One of Carson Grace's black belt, fought in MMA Vale Tudo, fought on Pride. He's just a very well-known guy in the community. Just for some people just got involved and don't know, but he's a legend from Carson Gracie. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know how to start. I remember I want to learn English and study here in America, and so I believe he invited me to go. I don't know exactly, but anyway, so he invited me to go to help me to be his assistant, and I say, okay, let's go, let's do it. And then my mom, my family, so my parents, they support me a lot to come. I was 18 or 19 in 1997. I become purple belt in 1996. So I moved in 1997. Yes. So yes, 1997. So was really hard because I started like staying by myself in the gym, sleeping in the gym on the mat. So I started studying. I started doing high school. So I remember I bought a bike to help me to go because I don't have a drive license. So to have the paperwork here is hard, and I was too young. But was hard, but at the same time, it was a really good experience because it helped me to learn English. So I learned English a lot. I made a lot of connections. Like the owner of the hookah was my student when he was white belt. Yeah, Path. So I remember he helped me a lot in the gym. Like I remember he gave to me a mattress to sleep. He gave me a microwave. He gave to me a mini freezer to put some food. I remember he helped me a lot, and we become really good friends after that. And we keep talking. I mean, not together anymore because he's really busy. But always when I go compete to California, I stay in Alan's house. I go I go to hookah. We talk and go lunch. So it was hard because I remember when I left Brazil, I was dating. So I left my girlfriend. We keep trying together. And after 7 months, I guess, I decided to come back to Brazil. So imagine if I stay here for that long. Oh my gosh, it'd be nice. But that's the life.
Yeah.
Work.
And you did you compete at the first Pans? Is that the first or the second one?
No, second one. Second one was 96. Yes.
96. Yes. And then you compete as a blue belt. So you didn't stay, you went back home and
yes. Yes. Maybe I stay on Alan's house. Maybe it was on that time he started talking with me to come to help. Maybe.
Matter of fact, that was the year when I joined Pederneiras Academy. That's when you guys were flying back from the Pan. So when I got there, you weren't there. Shaolin wasn't there. Like that week. So when I started, you guys were coming back from the Pan.
Rafael Carino, I guess.
Yeah, you had we had a group of people that
Léo Santos, Wendell. That was a nice group of guys from Nova União. Yeah. We just become a Nova União 1 year before.
Yeah. So now
was okay. No, sorry.
Yeah, I was about that 96. Whenever Pans was in 96.
Yes.
So one of the things that I think it's good for the listeners, maybe people have interest in competing and so forth. Something that I remember well, you coming up in the belts, and I think that's a similarity that we had is you always made it happen with sponsors. You always had like some type of partnership. You always had sponsors and stuff like that, you know? And so, of course, it's a long time ago, but what are some of the strategies that you use to try to go after sponsors? I have mine. I can share some of mine, but what are some of the things that you did? And one thing that you did really well too, and again, back then we didn't have any social media, but I think you always did a great job of trying to give some type of exposure to the sponsor.
I remember, you always
with a patch, a t-shirt and stuff like that, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So you always did a good job with that. So let's talk with this. I think it's even for people who maybe they're not competitors, but they're going after partnerships for their businesses or whatever. So do you remember your first sponsorship, and what was it?
My first sponsorship, was a place called Saúde e Energia. It's a small place, but very famous actually, with a good açaí, like nice juice.
Like juice bar, food,
Yes, some snacks. So I used to go there a lot to eat açaí. So I met the owner, and I think I believe I'm a type of guy very open. I like to talk. I make friends really fast. Sometimes this can be good, sometimes not, but I have that on me. So I'm very opening guy. I like to talk, to make friends. So we stay right, really connect, me and the owner. And in some point, I did my own curriculum on the computer with my titles, everything, whatever. And I gave to him, and I asked for him to pay my registrations fee. And that's it. And he liked it. He accepted. It was my first one, actually. And Guarapulus, I don't know if you remember, because they are partners, that food place and the Guarapulus, they are partners. So
which was a bigger company back then.
Yes, I remember they gave to me like box of natural guarana. So it was fun. It was nice. I was always wearing t-shirt. Pat on the geese was my first one. And I have a lot of sponsors. Yes.
So one of the things that you mentioned, and I think a lot of people maybe didn't catch, you mentioned like, hey, I did it like your resume, you know, with whatever you accomplished, what you try to do, you know, to give to the like your little proposal to the sponsors. So maybe at some point I share this at the podcast, I'm not sure. But anyway, so probably a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, or whatever, a friend of mine was starting a company or supplement company, and was involved with the jiu-jitsu community. So they had like a kind of like a jiu-jitsu name and everything. So as soon as he opened, he started receiving a bunch of messages like, hey, I want to sponsor you, I want to sponsor me, just like flooded, especially on the internet, you know, people can just send quick messages. So he said like, hey, what do you think? I said like, you know what, you want to narrow down who is at least a little more serious about it? Just ask her like, great, send me your proposal with your resume and maybe what you're looking for, how you can help, whatever. And then we can talk more about it. And then it's like, that's a great idea. So probably like 3 months later, we're talking and he mentioned like, remember when I asked you about that, you gave us suggestions? Like, yeah, he said, I'll probably receive about 100 emails in this past 3 months of everyone, just because it's new and it's fresh, and everyone's trying to go in. And I mentioned to everyone that I reply, I mentioned about a proposal, and he said one person sent it back. You know what I'm saying? So for anyone that is listening to this right now, maybe an instructor, maybe you're guiding your students, or maybe your students are looking for a sponsorship. I learned something when I was young that my brother was my mentor as far as marketing. He went to college for marketing. Plus he had like good ideas and stuff. And I think, how can I say, I just have some good instincts to go after sponsors. And he said, you know, anytime you're going to ask someone for money, you better give them a good reason. You know what I mean? Not just like, hey, can you sponsor me? Just like, sure, but like,
who are you?
You need to explain, and depending on the company, you need to. When I put a proposal, was even like, what is jiu-jitsu? Because some people don't know, depending on the company that you're talking with, what is jiu-jitsu? How's the scene? This is how long I've been doing. This is what I accomplished. This is my goal. This is what I can give back. So all those things is not guaranteed that you're going to get a sponsor, but at least you're way ahead of everyone else that is asking for.
Yes,
you know,
that's true. That's true.
So this happens often. So there, at one moment, we had the same sponsor. Remember the other juice bar, Mamão com Laranja?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we had, so there was different locations, because I had the one in at the mall in Vila Isabel. So they had one there. So I barely went to the one in Botafogo. You know, I went to one more in by my house. And I remember well, because when we started, like me, you, Vinicinho was another one too.
Yes, I think Luciano Andrade too.
And they had like
Formiga, Rafael Barbosa, Formiga. He was blue belt.
Yeah, they had a bunch of people. Like in my area, they had like a bunch of people. They didn't even know who they were.
I didn't know that, really?
Yeah, they had at least the local one.
Oh, I see.
But I remember seeing just seeing this, and I was like, who are these people? First, I don't know. And like, I'm going to all terms, I don't see these guys. And a lot of them, they'll go there and they just eat, do what they got to do, barely compete, when compete on put a patch, and and in about 3 months, they cut like everyone from that location. I was the only one who stayed there, because that's something for you who's looking for a sponsor. Like, man, as tough as it is, you gotta find a way to give something back. You gotta find a way to give like some type of return. As tough as it is, to get any kind of exposure back, especially back then. And then a guy realized who was like a little more serious,
Yes,
and
yes.
so what's some of the things that you because you had to be creative to give like stuff back, like some type of exposure. What are some of the things that you try to do with sponsors to give that the exposure back?
Yeah, back of the days, like you said, we don't have like social media, so you can't share what you're doing, all right?
Yeah.
Talking about the quality of the products, whatever. So the things I used to do, I remember, of course, the minimum is fight with the patch, wear the t-shirt,
the bare minimum,
hat, yeah, and always when I had a chance, I always invite some friends, not from jiu-jitsu, to go there with me, to spend money with him, for the owner see worth for him, because it's not only one person giving and the other part don't doing nothing. So you have to do something, all right? And it's very important. I remember I had some friends with same sponsor, not that sponsor, but another sponsor. I remember, let's take a picture for Tatami magazine. And I always say to the guy, oh, wait a little bit, and go to my bag, put my hat, put the t-shirt, whatever. And the other guys with the same sponsor, they don't care. They said, why you gonna put a hat? Like,
yeah.
So for why?
Yeah.
I have to stay why? But he's giving me t-shirts, he's giving me money to my registrations, he's helping me. That's the minimum what I can do for him. So some guys, they don't have that mentality. I don't know nowadays actually it's much easier to share things. You don't have to go there to do something. So nowadays I just have one sponsor from Choke Lab, from his geese, and that's it. But I had a lot.
Yeah. But now is a different moment in your life, right? So back then, that's different. You're more active, you have more expenses because of the competition. So it was a necessity. Right now, it's not a necessity. Like, I need a sponsor. Not really. But back then, it was a necessity. And I feel that I've been here for 22 years, and I share with many students like things that I've done, some strategies that I've done that work for me to get sponsors or to be able to cover trip expenses and stuff like that. And I cannot even count literally in one hand how many actually pursued and went after. So if someone say like, I want to go to compete, I have the dream to go compete somewhere else or whatever, maybe it's out of the country, but I don't have the money, that's why I'm not going to go. I'm sorry, but it's not an excuse. You know what I mean? People all over the world, I'm not saying that it's easy to get a sponsor, because it's not, especially nowadays. It's just it's not easy. However, people are getting sponsored, period. You know what I mean? So what are they doing? One, they're opening their mouths, you know what I mean? And asking. And that's something that if you are listening right now, by the way, I have 2 videos on YouTube on my channel, Gustavo Dantas. If anyone wants to check it out, I have 2 videos about sponsorship. They're both of them like about 20 minutes long. It's kind of long, but there's really good, valid content there, basically explaining like, hey, this is the strategy that I use. Hopefully can work for you. So I feel that it's definitely doable. And now one of the things that I think it's important to, the best sponsors that I had back then in Brazil were not jiu-jitsu per se related. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the jiu-jitsu companies, they're trying to make it. They don't have a lot of money to dump it. And if they do, they're going to dump into the big names. So when you're coming up, your collar belt, it's just like, man, I'm taking whatever I can, you know? So when I start going to companies away from jiu-jitsu, that's when I start getting better
I
offer,
agree.
better sponsors, because they have more money to put. Like I got my very first sponsor that actually had a salary. It was a drugstore, and
I remember.
yeah, well, actually, the City Farmer was my second one. I had another one. I had
Okay.
Drogarias Pop, my first one, for a year, and it just started just asking, and that's what everyone that you're looking for a sponsor, you start asking family, friends, just like, hey, do you know anyone there's a business owner who would be interested maybe helping an athlete? I'm trying to get some sponsors. I'm trying to go to a trip. I'm trying to cover whatever, and I started doing that. And back then, especially like around blue and purple, and you had way more results than I had, like at the beginning coming up. And then it took me a while as a blue belt to like get a little bit in a podium. So it's definitely tough when you go look for a sponsor. You don't have a lot of results. It's definitely a tough one, but like, hey, so be it. This is what I've done so far, and then my list just started getting a little bigger. But just having this plan of attack. And one of the things that I talked in one of the videos is this: ask with faith. I'm not talking about religion's faith, but just faith in yourself, that you're like, yo, no one's doing me a favor right here. Not like, oh, please, okay, no. We're doing a partnership, so this is important to put it out there. Like, I'm going to do the best I can to promote your company, like according to the reality, whatever I can do, and whatever you guys can do. So any chance I had, I was always with my little proposal, and in any chance I have, I go and present to someone. Sometimes works, sometimes it didn't, but I was always, so I was very blessed to be able to have like really good sponsors coming up, but it was going after. I had like only one sponsor that actually they came to me and offered me the sponsor, and I was very proud of, like, oh my God, someone's actually asking me to sponsor, which was the first time, but in order to do that, you're going to have to take a lot of no's, and this is not just for all the entrepreneurs out there. So the same concept is not just a sponsorship for like any partnership that you're trying to develop, any partnership that maybe someone's going to be investing some money, it'd be like, what can you actually, give back to people,
Yes. So one thing, like you mentioned about when you ask all your family about who knows a business owner, that I believe this works a lot. So pretty much like all my sponsors, I had some connections. Only the first one I met just going there, but Osklin. So Osklin was my favorite one because it's very famous, nice, good clothes. So I stayed there for a long time. So Vasco da Gama. So Vasco da Gama, because I studied with the son of the president. So
for people who don't know, Vasco da Gama is one of the biggest soccer teams in Brazil. So they sponsored some people for a few years.
Yes, Robson Moura, Shaolin, Saulo Ribeiro, a lot of.
That was a good sponsor. That was a good one.
Yes, it was a good one.
And back then was new. There's no one paying that kind of money back then.
No, was a good money. I had a sponsor from a national gas company, was in 2012, because I used to play soccer with a friend that works there, and he helped me. So always going to that path. I had a good one in Botafogo, another restaurant called the name is Carioca Zen. They helped me a lot to travel, paying some expenses for me. So I bless. So I have always good partners with me.
And another suggestion for people who are thinking about sponsors, of course, you need to be realistic with the company that you're approaching, which means I cannot go to a place that is just starting. It's a small company, like, hey, I'm looking for a salary. And people be like, dude, there's no way. So you're going to have to start with different partnerships. Like, Hey, it's a clothing company that give you this. Maybe it's a chiropractor office that you can go
Or
there for free. Or
yes, 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 yes. Or if you go to a new company, you guys, you can have like a business plan. Let's grow up together. I don't know. The first year you give me that. The second year we go there, whatever. You know, why not? Why
yeah,
not?
so this is something for slowly to
Yes,
build.
yes,
You know, we can just
yes.
go. And
Do you remember?
another,
Do you remember Shaolin's sponsor, Pet Food?
yeah,
Oh, Shaolin was yellow belt, blue belt
yeah,
when he started, and that place stayed with Shaolin until now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They grow up together. Was
Yeah,
nice.
so the idea with this is for everyone, if you plan, you know, doing something like that, you know, having a plan of attack when you go after. And I think something else that I use too, uh, since there's one point that if you're gonna go after a bunch of sponsors, you're gonna have, especially if you're gonna put patches in your gi. Next thing you kind of like a Formula One race
Formula.
driver, yeah, race driver. You know, you just
Yes,
your gi is all.
yes.
So I started to kind of break it down, be like, okay, for anyone that is paying me actually money, salary, so I have 3 patches in your gi. You know what I mean? So if
The
someone
best
is giving,
spots.
yeah, and then if someone is giving less, I'll give 2, and then if someone is just a partnership that is not like a lot
Yeah.
going on, I'll put 1. So that's one way to be fair as far
Yes,
as with
that's
all the,
true.
you know.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
someone give, you know, giving more money, of course, you're gonna give more attention. So now let's fast forward that how long did you live in Abu Dhabi?
So I moved to Abu Dhabi in 2014 and stayed there until 17. So
3 years.
from there, I moved to USA.
So you lived in US before for about
Ah,
6
yes,
months, right?
yes,
And
yes,
then so
yes.
that was your second experience living abroad. So how was for you? Well, number one, there's always the difficulty of a family, and you know, it's of course it's never easy to move out of state. Imagine going out of the country. But how was for you adapting to the culture? How was the experience?
Look, I was scared in the beginning because the culture totally different. All right, but soon I get there was better than I expect was very easy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the reason I stayed there for so long. The only thing I don't like was really hot over there, so you had
Yeah.
to stay inside your house. Or I remember like walking from the mall to your car is a nightmare. And you fought there before in Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
so you know what I'm talking about. And but was easy, Gustavo. Was easy, I believe, because I moved with Vinicinho, so we share a house together. So it was much easier having a good friend with you, so that I know for so long time. So helped a lot. Um, I had a nice Brazilian community, a lot of good black belts. So I keep training hard a lot. Like sometimes I go to train and have like 30 black belts.
Mm-hmm.
So for different schools from different weights. So was a really good experience training with them. I still have a good friend. I still have contact with some guys from there. They still living there. So was a really good one experience. The food is good. I don't like it
Mm-hmm.
spicy too much, but
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. But there you can find the same thing you find here in America, you can find there. Cheesecake Factory, McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, whatever. If you like to eat those type of food, you find there. So, and local foods too, of course. And I was working the army, so I remember that part was hard because there in the army is mandatory you do jiu-jitsu when you join the army. So, like we have like 5 platoons, and each platoon have like I don't know 200 guys. So that 200 guys they divide, so
Mm-hmm.
small groups. So we
Right.
stay like 2 coats for I don't know, trying to get here 50 guys, 60 guys, 2 coats. So that's 60 guys. Well, imagine it's mandatory to do jiu-jitsu 6 a.m. Something you have no idea what it is. So he's there because he have to be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Just the
want to be
body
there.
is there, you know.
There's a body, so it's hard. And they don't, in there they don't have that culture like to take care of the body, you know, like we have in Brazil, we have here. So they not getting used to that because they're so hot. They stay a lot inside their house. You don't see them playing soccer outside, outdoor. They don't have that. So what, that part was hard. Like of 60 guys, like 2 guys once. That's it. That part was a little bit annoying. Like, don't motivate me too much.
Yeah, it's hard to teach someone that do not want to learn that.
In the language,
like,
a lot of people don't speak English.
Ah.
So we have to, well, who speak English? And somebody say, me. And then he helped to translate. And even you don't know if he's translating right. But we don't know. We don't know.
Now, for people who don't know, because again, there's people just got involved with jiu-jitsu, don't know much about it. Just explain a little bit the scene there, because it started with they offer jiu-jitsu in schools, and they still have it in schools all over the UAE, which is an incredible opportunity. And they added the military too. And as far as I know, they had something like over 600 coaches. Is the proudest number is higher now? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they have jiu-jitsu in army, police, in a lot of first responder departments. And now they're to move up in the army, like to be a captain, to be a sergeant, whatever. You must to know jiu-jitsu. So in some point, like, I don't know, to be a captain, you have to be a blue belt. That's it. So in some point, if you want to grow up in the army, you have to train. So on that part, they start having more interest. But when I work was in the beginning of the army, so a lot of people, they doesn't know what they want, you know? So they don't have the idea about the importance about jiu-jitsu for them if they want to keep growing up in the army. So it was hard.
Yeah. And they have, for people who don't know too, they have great events in, without the big events. They built an arena just for the jiu-jitsu competitions. So it's something that they just keeps growing and growing. It's interesting to see like the progress. I would love to see them competing some of their main competitors of UAE. I would love them to see like the IBJJF scene, to see like, hey, how this guy's looking, you know? So, you know, like Ramon is there now. Ramon Lemos, Gordo used to be there too, but he left. Ramon, like, is a great coach. So he's always giving a lot of working hard to those kids over there. Remember, we have there like, but more young guys. Like I remember juvenile, 16, 17, 14. When they was blue belt, they are really good. They're really good. Good rules. Now I follow some guys on Instagram. I saw some guys now purple belt, brown belt. So that's what you said. Like they have to come more, all right, to America to compete the worlds, Pan Am Kids, worlds, whatever, because it's gonna help them to develop, because they always compete between each other. So it's hard. You know, and I think there's
the problem. I believe the problem is that competition between them and IBJJF. So imagine if they allowed to do a Dubai Open from IBJJF there. How amazing it will be. Sure. You know. So, but that's the problem. They fight against each other. So a lot of competition. So this is not good for the sport.
Yeah. Okay. So now. So the next chapter then come to the US. So we've been here. So we've been with Shaolin. And for people who don't know, you know, sometimes I forget how I'm getting old. You know what I mean? Sometimes I need to remind some people.
Who is Shaolin? Who is Robson? Who is...
Dude. One day I was teaching my fundamentals class, and I have a TV in the room, so sometimes I pull my computer and I put videos
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And
Nice.
then there was one day that we were talking, it was about self-defense, closing the distance and stuff like that. And then I go like, okay, how many people here have watched, and I don't know how many people had in that day, maybe 20 something people. Like, how many people here have watched UFC 1? That's like 4 or 5 people raise their hands. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting so old. You know what I mean? So like UFC 1. So sometimes in jiu-jitsu, that's one of the things that I like about, for people who don't know too, I have a podcast in Portuguese that I interview a lot of the masters competitors, guys from back in the day that a lot of people don't know, and
Don't know.
they made a huge impact in the development of jiu-jitsu, the competition scene back then, and a lot of people don't know. So once in a while, I like to remind people.
Yes,
And so
yes. Very important.
Shaolin has 2 schools, New York and New Jersey. I don't remember his website, but you guys can just Google him. I don't know, it's vitorshaolin.com or
Shaolin BJJ.com.
yeah. So if you guys don't know about him, should check him out. 3-time black belt world champion adult, twice as a master, long
Three,
career in MMA.
3 times before he turned 21, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So he is very young, got his black belt in 3.5 years, I believe.
Yes, he became a black belt with 17.
Mm-hmm. So you guys being close friends for many, many, many years, right?
Yes, yes, that's true. I'm his
Yes.
best man. You know, he's married. So that's I think he went to Abu Dhabi to compete with Kenny Florian, the legend super fight,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I helped him there, like staying with him in the hotel, helping him to move there, giving some rides, whatever. And he invited me to come. So that's what happened. And I didn't think twice.
So, and for people who don't know, uh, Shaolin, I would say me, you can tell you, but Shaolin is, as far as friends of mine competed and so forth, I, no doubt, I believe he's the most disciplined dude that
Oh yes.
that I encounter in my jiu-jitsu journey. Do you know anyone more disciplined than him?
No.
So how was for you, because you're like super laid back, how was for you when you're younger training with him, and you know what I
Oh
mean,
my
and
God.
they just kind of follow him around?
We are totally different, me and him. We are totally different. I remember just when I moved, we became very close friends. I remember when we was like blue belts in the beginning. Shaolin, I believe he's a couple months younger than me. He's 79, I'm 78. So I remember we used to we have a friend lives in a nice condominium in Brazil, and they have a pool on that condominium. So I remember you used to go there, sneak in to swim and do some bars and parallel like every single day. So he always pushing me to go. Of course, I start going with him, but in some point I stopped going. But he never give up. Like he always there. I used to have a friend. Do you remember Robo Felipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he. We used to go in a club. What he was membership, like 6 a.m. in the morning to swim, to do a lot of stuff. But Shaolin, I believe the difference, I mean, what helped Shaolin being like that was because he always know what he wants early. So I don't. So I did use as a hobby. So I on my plan was do a college. I mean, he did a college too, but I did like a journalism college, work as a with press. So that's I believe the difference between me and him. So that the reason he spent more time doing stuff for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and one thing too for all the entrepreneurs out there, and if you have competed before too, I think it's really cool to see with him is that the same discipline that he had for competition, for sports, he was able to transfer that to his professional life, you know,
Yes,
to
that's
like
true.
to everything. And sometimes it's not easy to do, you know, and he always been super disciplined with that to be able to man, all the challenges that life present itself, of course, and he was still trying to fight MMA and run a school and do all kinds of stuff, and having 3 kids, you know. So he's a really good inspiration for people, that for anybody, but like for entrepreneurs, you know, if you train jiu-jitsu and you feel that you discipline with jiu-jitsu, with your jiu-jitsu journey, just do the same thing that you're doing in your professional life, that you will see results for sure. And that's something that is not by accident that he became one of the most successful jiu-jitsu competitors ever, you know. And if you look in a lightweight, he has to be like top 5 ever, you know, and all because, and I believe for people who follow the podcast, for the hardcore fans that have listened to 128 now episodes, I think Shaolin's episode maybe 17, I'm not sure, somewhere in the beginning. So it's titled "Consistency is the Key to Success." So if you have a chance to check it out, take a look. About a few years ago, but of course the information is timeless. You know, you can you can
and
use for.
And he's still the same. He work out like 3 times a week. He eat healthy. Of course, sometimes when he go having fun with his family, he eats some pizzas, whatever. But most of the time, he's still like training. He's the first one jumping in the mat, the last one to leave the mat. So I'm there to help, so I can watch the class when he's training. So this, you know, it's hard to train and teach at the same time because you have to take care about the class. So having someone you trust, so it's much easier. So you can like disconnect from the school and focus on your train. So I of course I can help him training too, but I'm getting hurt on my shoulder, so I'm not training. So now I can't help him anymore, not yet. But and I learn a lot with him. I'm still learning a lot with him, how to run the school, how to teach, because it's not easy to teach. So even if you are, I know you know too, probably a lot of good competitors, they are not good teachers, and you see a not good competitors, but they are amazing teachers, so professors. So we have this a lot. Doesn't mean if you are a good competitor, you are a good teacher. No, don't work like that. Don't work like that.
So what are some of the things that you feel that you learned from him being there, as far as teaching or the school, anything that catch your attention that you remember?
So he's very straight with schedule, you know.
That I was gonna say, time. There's no Brazilian time with him.
No Brazilian time. No. I make a lot of fun with him in front of the students about that. But that's what I learned, like to go early, to don't rush, because maybe wrong can happen during before. So if something happened, we have time to resolve, to find someone to teach, to replace, or maybe I have time to rush to teach on a place. Some trials show up, something, because I know a lot of guys, they come to the gym like 1 minute before the car start. They park the car with the gi, a mug of coffee on your hands. You know that. And they just start the class. So like Brazilian way, not lazy, but not caring too much about the details. Of course, if you have somebody working for you before, all right, maybe you can go to the gym a little bit later, okay? But that one thing, like I learned a lot with him, and that's really true.
One of the things that I remember asking him at the interview, I said, "What is one habit that you have that you practice every day?" And said, "I never snooze. You know, the alarm comes up, I'm up. There's no like, let me sleep for 10 more minutes."
No. He wake up 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So he's we talk about that today actually in the morning class. His private is 6 a.m. in Manhattan. So driving, no traffic early, like 30 minutes by car. So he wake up like 4 a.m.
Sometimes before, because I remember I stayed a few years ago. I don't think, I don't know if you're there yet, but a few years ago that I went there and stayed with him. And then I think he was up at like 3:45 or something, because he needed to be in Manhattan and in getting situated. And then he will stay all day like normal and does his physical therapy and does this and teach classes, does whatever.
He's still doing that.
Yeah, still the same,
still
like the same madness all day long, and then boom, repeat. So man, mad respect for that. Jesus.
Yes. He's
I don't know how he does it.
Still.
So,
but I agree with him, because like other day, actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was driving to the gym. My car started doing a weird noise, and thank God it was the day we teach together. So it's okay if now something can happen. That's the day. All right. So, and then I called him and said, "Oh, Shaolin, my car is something weird here. I have to stop to check what happened, because it can become something worse later. And I can't spend that money if something happened here." So I stopped by. A guy saw my car. He said, "Okay, you can drive, no problem." And then so I have to be in the gym 3:30. I'll be there like 3:45. I'm still on time. But imagine if he's not there and something happened. And so we have that 30 minutes to fix what's going on, so it's good. It's showing to the people like the professor is never late. He always there. We start the class on the dot, Gustavo, on the dot. So when I'm here by myself, I can't ask the students to step, the kids, all right, to step in, to waiting for me, because something can happen inside. And I have to stay more time outside on the lobby. Maybe some trial can show up, helping tie the bell, those stuffs. I saw the clock like 4:29 and the class is 4:30. I jump in. I don't care who is late outside. We're in the gi. I start the class. And people know us. So this is good. This is good. People like that.
Right on. So we're getting close to the end of the interview. So now, man, you've been training for so long. So what do you feel that some of the biggest lessons that jiu-jitsu taught for your life and everything? There's many lessons, tough to get one, but what do you think?
Gustavo, I used to say I'm a roller coaster of feelings before my fights. I think everything. I know is wrong, but I do. But the thing is, I know how to deal when I fight, Of course, sometimes you're not so nervous. Sometimes you're really nervous. Doesn't matter against you're going to fight, all right? But sometimes I know when I'm going to have a good day when I wake up. I don't know, explain why. So I don't know, when I wake up, I feel today going to be a good day. Today, I feel my body a little bit heavy, going to be tricky. Maybe later I can feel better. But the thing I learned, all right, so each fight is a history. Like I used to I still doing that. I compare a lot when I go fight with someone, and let me Google that guy, and I see he's beating a guy I know is really good. I say, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. The first thing, I'm in trouble. And then when I'm gonna fight with the guy, I mean, not easy, but maybe I can lose, but I felt like I had a chance to win. So, it's not that monster.
The monster is not that big, right?
Yeah. So I learned a lot with that. So each fight, I can give example. When I fought in Pan Am's in 19 with Bharat Yoshida. So I think you fought with him too, I guess, in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. So we know how good it is. So I started putting his name on the Google to watch his fights, and I saw he's giving a hard work to Robson Moura. I said, oh my gosh, Robson Moura, he killed me in 5 seconds. And he did a tougher fight with Robson, but I think it was a different rules.
Yeah,
only
it was.
submissions.
And I think it
I
was
don't
15 minutes. I think it was a 15-minute round
Yeah,
too.
so it's another
Was in
strategy,
Europe, yeah.
another, yes, yes. So also Polaris, I guess.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I saw he's fighting with Tomadinho really well. I think he beats Tomadinho. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really worried about fighting him. I was. And I remember I was in the warm-up area in Pan Am's. Was my first fight in the tournament. And I remember Vitor Dória stopped by close to me and he said, "How feel? You feel okay? Against who you gonna fight?" And I said, "They're gonna fight with Bharat Yoshida." And he looked at me, "Amazing. All eyes on you. Everybody gonna watch that fight." And this helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Helped me a lot. I said, "No, this is true, man." So when I stepped in the mat, was not an easy fight, but I controlled the fight really well, and then I won. So that's a good example about each fight is a history. It doesn't matter, because we don't know, maybe the way I fight, the guy not used to, the way you fight playing top, the guy, I don't know. So, and I remember before the fight, Shaolin saying to me, "Andrea, he's gonna feel lost with a spider bar because nobody does the way you do. So he's gonna see that foot on his biceps. He's gonna have trouble to pass your guard. So don't worry, man. Do your game, pull guard first, and then you're gonna see it." And it's funny because during the fight, I remind Shaolin saying that to me because I remember I was with my foot on his biceps,
Mm-hmm.
and Gustavo, he was like looking to his biceps and to my
Puzzled.
feet,
Yeah.
the hooks I was doing on his feet, and he's like trying to understand what I'm doing here because he was not able to clear his arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw his face; he's very concerned about the hooks, and I made me remind Shaolin talking about that, and was everything okay? This is a good example. We have a lot actually. Another thing too, like Osvaldo, he always tell this for his students, because I used to say to Osvaldo like that, "Osvaldo, I know when the fight gonna be tough. When I shake the guy hands, when he squeeze my fingers like that, I know the guy is strong and I'm trouble." And now I stopped shaking hands, Gustavo. Now fist and bump. Like I don't give my hand anymore to don't have that feeling. And that's true. Everybody wants squeeze my finger. It was a tough fight because the guy have a good grip.
So for everyone, I think a good lesson from this, what I just said, it's we got to really pay attention to the stories that we tell ourselves, you know, because sometimes you can get like so like pumped up. Oh my God, you know, this guy's a monster. And again, sometimes you can go there and perform, but there's times you just let that to take over. And then now we're just going to be frustrated because you're not able to do your best. And that is the same thing, I think, for your business. You're going to have ideas and your mind's going to play tricks on you. You're going to start telling the stories, and then you're going to have that kind of anxiety of thinking, am I doing the right thing or this and that? Yeah. Or we're going for a meeting, and then now you're making this meeting, this person that you're going to meet, this other business or potential client or whatever, this monster that how I'm going to close this account or whatever. And then you just do your thing and do the best you can with the knowledge that you have right now, whether in jiu-jitsu or in life. And it's very important to be aware of those stories, you know, because you can go downhill and then, oh my God, and this guy, you know, this and that. It's like when you mentioned about in the beginning of your career, like that guy has 3 stripes, you know, and I have one, you know, that kind of stuff, you know. Now suddenly you just believing that story, you know, like, oh my God, that's true. That guy has 3 stripes, and they can throw you off. So
let me tell another story. When I was competing, I was white belt, still under Alan Góes, not Pederneiras yet. And I was like 14, 15, and I fought as an adult in a best fighter in Shopping Rio Sul. And I remember I was there to fight, and Gustavo had a guy with Bolão, with Murilo Bustamante, the guy wearing gears, a white belt, the guy I was supposed to fight, and he's there with Murilo Bustamante, Libório, all those legends around him. And Gustavo, the guy had a lot of sponsors
everywhere.
from Barra Grill. Remember Barra Grill?
Yeah.
The barbecue place, very famous. They sponsor a lot of good people. And I remember Alan told me, oh, look, that guy, he didn't make the weight. So they're going to allow him to fight anyway. So I said, oh my gosh, man, the guy's older than me, 1,000 of sponsors, a good sponsor, a lot of legends around him. He didn't make the weight. I said, oh, I'm in trouble today. And then I started the fight. I pulled guard. I did unbar on him. The guy was really strong. I stayed with the unbar like for 5 minutes. I didn't make him tap, but I stayed there like forever. And I won the fight. But this impressed me a lot. I was 14, 15. So, but that's a good history too. So
yeah, so always the message is, man, watch the voice. The dark passenger, the voice is gonna be like, dude, watch
that guy's my friend. The bad guy, that voice, he's my friend now.
But you know what's interesting what you just said about it's your friend. I was watching a special on Usman, the middleweight, welterweight champion, the UFC now. And he said that Rashad Evans taught him something that, like, it was basically that, like, be okay, be friends with that, with that feeling, with that voice. Make him your friend, that it's okay, it's there.
Yeah.
So be it, be friends, big friends, because it's not going to go away, so
never
be there. You learn how to be more aware of it. You know
how to deal with him.
Yeah.
Is there. I watched the one interview you did with the Draculino. Was for me was the best one. A lot of things he said, I passed through. Exactly the same things. And I was watching the interview and say, man, this happened with him, like a legend in the sport. Imagining me. So we had the same feelings. I remember when he was talking, when he goes fight against Holly Gracie. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So exactly the same feelings. I think this is going to be there around always. The difference is how you're going to deal with that. That's the key.
So if people want to find you, your Instagram or whatever you use the most, is that Instagram, maybe for social media?
Yes, so it's Andre Motta, _T, BJJ. That's my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, sometimes I share some techniques I like to do with the spider guard, some sweeps I do in the tournaments. You guys can start following me over there. And I have some projects on my mind. Start doing some videos to teach how I do my spider for so long. And that's it. Let's follow me. Some news is gonna come soon.
Awesome. Andrezinho, thank you so much for your time, brother. Appreciate it. And for all the listeners, if you have suggestions, anything, you can send me a message. You can send a message on Instagram, Gustavo Dantas BJJ, or you can send me an email, info@thebjjmentalcoach.com. So thank you so much, dude.
All right, Gustavo, thank you so much for that opportunity. All right, keep doing that. Help a lot of people, believe me. Thank you, guys.
All right. Os.